Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy, King Sinbad. But as always, guys, you guys can call me Sin. And welcome back to part 3 to What If Naruto Was the Son of Itachi Uchiha. Alright, guys, so last place where we left off, Naruto, Mito, Inori, and Mima, Sasuke, and Hitomi, they all graduated. And Naruto, Sasuke, and Hitomi were put on Team 7. Their sensei being Shisui Uchiha, Mito, Inori, and Mima being placed on their mother's team, Team 8, Kushina, and yeah. And they told their Shisui and Kushina told their teams to meet at the training grounds, and then when Naruto got home, Kushina threw a graduation party for being able to, graduate. And everybody got gifts. Naruto got the crow summoning contract and a 3-pronged kunai, the flying thunder god technique, and he was going to learn the Rasengan from his dad. Okay, guys, so yeah, that's where we last left off, and yeah, so Naruto, Sasuke, Hitomi, and Shisui all meet at the Forest of Death. As a hope for Shisui to get a feel for his Genins, how should I say, their abilities. Shisui kind of having a faint idea of what Sasuke's abilities are, some of what Hitomi's are, but fully understanding how good and how frightening Naruto can be when he gets serious. So, anyway, Naruto says, "Alright, Shisui Sensei, so what are we going to be doing?" And Shisui says, "Well, simple. We're going to have a bell test." Now, Naruto knows the full meaning of what the bell test is. Sasuke and Hitomi do not. Naruto steps forward, and as he steps forward, he slips Hitomi and Sasuke something. And then he whispered in their ears, said, "Read it when y'all scatter." And anyway, they don't make a nods because they don't want Shisui to get any ideas of what they were nodding about. And Naruto says, "So what test? What test?" And Naruto pretending to play dumb like he doesn't know what's going on. Shisui says, "The bell test." He says, "This is the true test. The other test was just to see if you guys, to show that you guys are capable to become ninja. But this is the true test, to see if you truly earned your spot as a ninja." And he says, "And all you guys have to do in order to pass this test is take these 2 bells from me." He says, "Oh yeah, but by the way, I should let you guys know, if you fail this, you'll be going back to the academy." As he had his eyes closed and letting out a smile. As Hitomi and Sasuke like, "Wait, what?" As they were actually surprised that they couldn't believe that if they didn't pass this test, then they would go back to the academy. And Naruto just, he just maintained a calm, composed look, as he knows that there's no such thing as a three-man team. As Naruto instantly came to remember what his dad and why his dad created the bell test, as it was a means to engage your teams being able to work together under pressure and being able to come together and come up with a plan to fight enemies who are stronger than you and overpower them using the power of numbers on your side. As Naruto instantly knew exactly what to do. Even though he already knew what it was, he just still remembered that conversation. And Shisui says, "Alright." And he says, "One more thing. Come at me like you have the intention to kill me. Otherwise, you're not going to pass." Basically, what I'm saying is for you to all go at full power. Don't hold anything back. As Naruto, he keeps both of his eyes closed. And hold on, guys, I'll be right back. Sorry about that, guys. So anyway, Naruto begins. I said he closed his eyes. Okay, so he did not close his eyes. Naruto, he kept his eyes on Shisui, and Shisui said, "Begin," as he told me went to the left, and Sasuke went to the right, as Naruto just stood there. And Shisui says, "Naruto, what are you doing? You should be hurrying up and getting..." And Naruto says, "Simple, Shisui-sensei. I've already figured out the meaning of this test." And Shisui says, "Oh, and what is it?" Naruto says, "It's about teamwork, isn't it?" As Shisui closes his eyes and gives a smile, and he just shrugs. He says, "Maybe, maybe not. Who knows?" As Shisui thinks to himself, he says, "Yeah, he's his father's son, all right. Only he can have come to that conclusion that quick." As Shisui actually holds Naruto in a high regard, as even comparing Naruto even to that of high tuning, low joning, when he's not using his Sharingan. When he's using his 3 Tomoe Sharingan in both of his eyes, he compares him to a mid-tier to high-tier jonin. Whenever he's using his Mangekyo Sharingan, to Sannin level to low Kage level. So, enough to where it does require where you actually have to put in an actual bit of effort. However, even Shisui knows that Naruto hasn't been going fully all out. As Naruto would actually... Because Naruto says he doesn't like going all out unless he actually necessarily has to. Usually only because he'd only go all out because of strong opponents. However, Shisui always scolds Naruto, saying that he needs to go all out from the start to subdue your enemies very quickly. However, Shisui understands what he's talking about because of their Uchiha blood, but not only because of their Uchiha blood, but since Naruto's half Uchiha and half Uzumaki, it's basically twice as more potent that need to test their powers and their abilities, always pushing themselves to go far beyond of what anybody else could ever hope to imagine or accomplish. Not only that, since Naruto being the nine-tailed fox's Jinchuriki, alongside with his mother, of course, Naruto just has this huge, large amounts of chakra reserves. More than any Uchiha has ever had in history. Only one he could ever come to actually think of is Madara Uchiha. Even though he knows that's... as he's never met Madara, but he knows that it requires a lot of chakra. As Naruto says, "So, am I right?" And Shisui, of course, he just shrugs his shoulders again, saying, "Who knows? Maybe you're right. Maybe you're wrong. Like I said, Naruto, all you need to do is get these bells from me." And Naruto says, "And that's it, huh?" And Shisui says, "That's it." As Naruto just closes his eyes, and then when he opens up both of his eyes, you see in both of his eyes 3 Tomoe Sharingan in both of his eyes. Okay, I'm going to stop saying both of his eyes. As Shisui does the same, as Shisui activates his 3 Tomoe Sharingan in both of his eyes, as when the Uchihas locked eyes with one another, Naruto with his 3 Tomoe Sharingan and Shisui with his 3 Tomoe Sharingan in both of their eyes, this is when they get into a fighting position. As Naruto unsheaths his 3-pronged kunai. As Naruto's been actually working and studying on how to do the flying Rajin, or the flying thunder god technique. This is when Naruto would actually start taking his training a little bit more serious. As Naruto, not his training god. That's not what I meant. I was thinking about something else. My bad. Naruto would launch himself at Shisui, as Shisui would unsheath his Tanto, as they would engage in a taijutsu battle, using their blades. As Naruto infused some chakra into his 3-pronged kunai, extending its reach, making it into a sword, as Shisui would do the same to his Tanto, as they would engage into basically a sword fight, even though it's basically made out of chakra, as they would just continue doing this same thing. Meanwhile, Hitomi and Sasuke read the scrolls and they figured out what Naruto was saying, as they finally understood what the true meaning of this test was, as it was to see how well their teamwork was, how good their teamwork was, and how well they could work together under pressure and fighting a stronger opponent than themselves. As Naruto would give the same explanation that he just gave to Shisui and the scrolls that he gave to Hitomi and Sasuke. As now they both know, Hitomi, she weaves hand signs and and she says camouflage jutsu. As not only does this erase her presence, but it just completely seals her chakra from being detected. That the only way you could possibly detect her is if you have a dojutsu, or if your sensory... Hold on, guys. Sorry about that, guys. Alright, so anyway, Naruto, this is when he would continue fighting. As Hitomi, she began setting up traps for Naruto's plan to go off smoothly. As Sasuke, he began to ready himself as he started weaving hand signs. Of course, since Shisui was too focused on Naruto, knowing that Naruto was not someone you could let your guard down against. As one little mistake, Shisui knew that Naruto would take advantage of that slip-up, not giving his enemies any time to recover or counterattack. So Shisui always having to stay light on his feet. However, Shisui then hears, "Fire style, great fireball jutsu!" And Sasuke lets out a huge fireball, and Shisui says, "Dang." And Naruto says, "Fire style, dragon flame jutsu!" And Naruto lets out a big fire dragon, as it comes flying at Shisui, and Shisui says, "Uchiha style, dancing halo." And this is when he uses flames on his sword, and he delivers slashes to both of the jutsus, knowing how to easily counteract them. And Naruto weaves hand signs. He says, "Lightning style, lightning beast running jutsu." And Sasuke says, "Earth style, earth golem." As Sasuke and Naruto both release their respective jutsus as Shisui says, oh, come on. And he starts weaving up hand signs. He says, lightning style. Lightning beam running jutsu. No, wait, hold on. It's not a real jutsu. Hold on. Lightning style. Twin lightning cable. And this is when Shisui would summon a clone as they would extend far beyond, destroying the Earth Golem and the Lightning Beast. Destroying them instantly as there'd be huge destruction. As Shisui was constantly staying on his toes with Sasuke and Naruto, as he knew he could not let his guard against down any one of them. And then that's when Naruto says, alright, let's see how well you handle this. Wind style. And Shisui says, wait, 3? Well, I kind of suspected that. And Naruto says, wind style. Wind vacuum bullets. And then this is when he starts shooting out multiple wind bullets at Shisui, as Shisui had to dodge them very swiftly to make sure he doesn't get hit, as the wind bullets tear a hole through the trees. As Naruto then began weaving more hand signs, he says, finally, water style. And this is when he says, water dragon jutsu, as the water behind Naruto begins to form, and then a water dragon appears. And Shisui says, huh? He has 4 chakra natures? And then Shisui jumps back as he wasn't even focused on Sasuke anymore, as he knew that Naruto was the most dangerous out of the two. And he says, crap. And then this is when a light starts to go off, and Shisui says, huh? And then this is when an explosion would happen, sending Shisui flying up into the air, not knowing that he ran into a trap laid by Hitomi, as another explosion would go off as Shisui goes flying forward, as more explosions keep on going, sending Shisui into multiple different directions, as he was trapped into an endless barrage of explosions. And then finally, as a tree log comes swinging out of nowhere and hits Shisui in the back, sending him flying into a tree. And then, as he falls, he poofs. As Naruto says, a shadow clone, huh? So that's when he weaved it. During the light, when we all covered our eyes, he weaved a shadow clone, and then he substituted himself with a log and made his shadow clone took all the damage. That's Shisui Sensei for you. Shisui says, very good. You guys almost had me there. If I didn't react fast enough, I would say you guys would have knocked me out. That was a very good job. And then, as Naruto says, the battle ain't over yet. And Shisui said, huh? As Shisui hears the bells, as he looks down, as he sees both of the bells are missing. And Shisui looks back at Naruto and Sasuke, seeing that they didn't move from their spot. He says, wait, is this Genjutsu? And he says, no, wait, my Sharingan would have detected it. And then that's when he said, wait, Hitomi! And then, of course, he spun around, seeing that Hitomi had both of the bells, and tossed both of the bells to Sasuke and Naruto, knowing that they did most of the work. And if anyone deserved it, it would have been them. And Shisui said, congratulations, you all passed. You all found the hidden meaning behind this test. As you all well know, the whole meaning of this test was to do teamwork. And then, of course, this is when Naruto would begin utilizing his this is when Naruto would be deactivating his 3 Tomoe Sharingan. And this is when, after Shisui gave them a pass, he says, alright, starting tomorrow, we'll commence our first Team 7 mission. And Naruto says, a C rank? And Shisui says, whoa, slow your rolls, Naruto. You're not ready for a C rank mission yet. We gotta do a couple of D ranks. And Naruto says, and just a couple of D ranks? And Shisui's understood what Naruto was saying, as Naruto didn't want to get stuck with any D rank missions, as Shisui knows that Naruto has a huge disdain for D rank missions, as really it's just really little kid stuff, something to help them get a feel for what missions really are, even though they don't really have any impressive missions. As this is when Naruto, Shisui would say, alright, but that will wait until tomorrow. And he says, you guys can all go home now. Meet me at the Hokage's Tower tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. As they would all nod, and they would all disappear. As Naruto made it back to the Uchiha clan compound, making it back to his house in particular, Naruto enters the house. And Naruto says, I'm home. And Kushina says, welcome home, sweetie. And then, of course, Naruto says, so, how did Mima... No, wait. How did Mito and Inori and Mima do? And Kushina, she says, oh, well, they did too fine. However, Mima gets too impatient and rowdy, and he leaves himself open to too many attacks. However, he can be creative whenever he decides to be, considering he can be a little bit unpredictable. However, he still has a long ways to go, but I still see there's great potential in him. As Naruto would say, huh. And Naruto says, what about Inori? And then, of course, Kushina says, well, Inori, she's cool, calm, and collected, very much like how you and your father are. However, she allows herself to be too calm, cool, and collected, as this would actually make her get a little bit too prideful in her own abilities, underestimating her opponents, as she overestimates her own abilities. And Naruto says, for Mito? And of course, Kushina lights up and says, oh, well, Mito, she was actually the one, Mito's more of the glue of the team, as she holds both of them and keeps both of them in check. So, all in all, she equally balances out the team, as they were able to work together quite easily. However, like I said, Mima likes to rush into things. And this is when Naruto just kind of lets out a small chuckle. He's like, so that's what they were doing. And Kushina says, so, how are you in your... She says, so, how did you do during your test? Naruto says, we passed. Easily. Of course. And Kushina says, well, that's my little prodigy for you. And Naruto says, come on, Mom, you don't have to do that. As Naruto gets a little blush in his cheeks. And as Kushina really... She finds it a very rare treat to see her son blush. As Naruto doesn't really like to get flustered all that much. And of course, around that time, this is when Kushina would say, so, what are you guys gonna do for your first mission? And Naruto says, well, I don't know. And Naruto says, oh, by the way, what are we having for dinner? And Kushina, this is when she gets really lit up. And she says, well, we are going to be having hot pot today. And Naruto says, hot pot? Really? This close to summer? Usually we don't have that until winter. As Kushina, she says, well, it's never too late for hot pot. And Naruto says, well, I like your cooking, Mom, so it always makes me full and it's really good. As Kushina, she takes the compliment, knowing that Naruto, whenever Naruto gives praise to somebody, regardless of how small the feat is or how big the feat is, you better take it when you can get it. Because rarely Naruto gives compliments, but genuine compliments are the ones that are hard to get. As this is when Naruto would actually begin getting. And he says, so what kind of seasoning did you get? And she says, well, the Uzumaki special. And then this is when Naruto says, oh, then Naruto remembers the last time he had the Uzumaki special seasoning. He's like, wait, you're not really planning on putting that in the hot pot? As a tick mark would appear on Kushina's forehead. And she says, what, you got a problem with my cooking, Naruto? And Naruto's like, no ma'am, your cooking is good. It's basically from the gods themselves. As Kushina says, that's my boy. And as she would rub his head, and Naruto says, man, my mom can be very crazy sometimes. And then this is when she would punch Naruto in the head. She says, I heard that, And Naruto says, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do it. I didn't mean to say that. I meant you just, when you get angry, you can just, like, your mood just kind of switches. And hold on, guys. I'll be right back. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so anyway, yeah, Naruto, he apologized to his mom. And around that time, Mima come running into the house. He says, stop it, Mita, stop it. Okay, I've learned it. I understand. And Mita says, you pervert. That's what you get for peeping on girls. And Kushina gets a tick mark. He says, Mima, what did you do? And Mima says, nothing, ma'am. Nothing, Mom. Mita, she's crazy. She doesn't know what she's talking about. Mita says, you liar. Come on, everybody knows that you were peeping on the girls in the hot springs. And Mima says, I was not. And Mita says, you were too. You were peeping on all the girls in the bathhouse. And then Kushina lets out some killer intent and said, Mima, what did I say I hate? And Mima says, perverts. And she says, and what have you been doing? Perverted things. You're grounded. And she hits Mima on the head, knocking him out. And he's like, and Kushina says, oops, I guess I put a little bit too much strength into that. And Naruto was just hiding behind the couch, and he says, is he okay, Mom? And Kushina, she says, oh, don't worry about it. He'll be okay. Probably. And Naruto says, that doesn't comfort me. And Naruto says, oh, hey, Mom, I forgot about something. And Kushina says, what is it? And Naruto says, you know what? Never mind, it can wait. And Kushina says, well, okay. And she says, now all of you, first of all of you wake up Mema, and then all of you go and get washed up. And they're like, yes, ma'am. As they know when their mom was serious. As they picked up Mema and threw him out into the little pond that they have. And Mema woke up, he's like, ah, it's cold. As he remembers how he got knocked out. And this is when Naruto, as he was walking, Kurama spoke to Naruto and he said, hey kid, we need to talk. And Naruto says, Kurama, what is it? It's about KCM. Alright, I think you're ready for KCM 1 and KCM 2. And Naruto says, alright, so how do I tap into it? Well, I already gave you the okay, and we've already bumped fists. All that's left is that you need to take my chakra into you. Then once you do that, you'll unlock KCM 1 and KCM 2. And Naruto says, oh, okay. So how do we do it? And Kurama says, well, we can do chakra tug of war, or we can just bump fist and I'll let it pass over from me to you. And Naruto says, okay, let's just bump fist. I don't feel like playing chakra tug of war. And then, of course, in Naruto's mental landscape, they bump fists. And then, of course, Naruto unlocks KCM 1 and KCM 2. But he's going to have to train with KCM 2 before he gets an actual good hold of it. As they will only be able to stay in their go full tail beast, go full 9 tails for about 5 minutes. So, yeah. Anyway, Naruto gets washed up. And then, of course, they have dinner. And Itachi comes home. And Itachi says, smells good. Are we having hot pot? And Naruto says, yep. And Itachi noticed that Mema has a black eye. And he says, what happened to Mema? As Mema didn't want to say anything. And Mito says, Mema was being a pervert. And Itachi says, Mema, you know you're going to get hit in the face, so why do you even do it? And Mema says, you can blame pervy Sage for that. And Itachi says, oh yeah, I forgot. I've been letting him train you and Naruto. And then, of course, all the girls look at Naruto and say, Naruto, you haven't been having perverted thoughts, have you? And Naruto says, no, what makes you say that? As Naruto doesn't really get flustered, so it's rare to see that Naruto gets flustered. I'm going through puberty and stuff, but it doesn't mean I have to stoop down and succumb to my hormones, you know? As Kushina notices Naruto says, you know, as that's something that only that Kushina and Naruto do. When they get super excited or they get nervous or flustered or their emotions are just running high. They say, you know. And Kushina said, you said you know. And Naruto said, huh? What do you... I don't know what you're talking about. You know, you're being weird, Mom. And Kushina, she said, you did it again. And Naruto said, I don't know what you're talking about. You know? Naruto said, he said, God dang it. As Naruto, he said, oh crap, I said you know again. Man, this is messing with my head, you know? And then Naruto, he keeps on getting mad that he keeps on saying you know. And Kushina, she keeps on getting, her smile keeps on bigger. And she said, you said you know again, Naruto. And Naruto, he keeps on getting more angry and he keeps on saying, you know. And then everybody just kind of laughs. As Naruto's the only one who actually says, you know. As Naruto inherited that's one of the things that Naruto inherited from his mother. And then, of course, a few days go by. Team 7 and Team 8 been doing a lot of D rank missions, and Naruto's been getting a little bit frustrated, knowing he can take on higher difficult missions. So, Itachi summons both Team 7 and Team 8, so Team Shisui and Team Kushina. So Naruto, Sasuke, Hitomi, Shisui, Mito, Inori, and Mima and Kushina come in, and they're like, "Yes, Lord Hokage." And Itachi says, "Alright, well, I have good news and I have bad news. So which one do you guys want to hear first?" And Naruto says, "Come on, Dad, just give us the bad news." As Itachi says, "Naruto, I know you're my son, and you're my eldest son, but please, you are on duty, so you still have to call me Hokage." And Naruto says, "Yeah, sorry about that, Dad. I mean, Hokage-sama." And Itachi says, "Don't worry about it, son. Naruto." As Itachi, no, as Itachi's actually very proud of his son, so Itachi thinks he can give Naruto a break. As Naruto, even though Naruto is his firstborn and his eldest son, he figures he can give Naruto a break or two. As he knows that since Naruto's his firstborn and his eldest son, Itachi just pushes it to the back of his head as he remembers that he needs to hand them another mission. And Naruto says, Lord Hokage, if permission to speak." And Itachi says, "Granted. What is it?" Naruto says, "I feel like these missions are holding back our potential. I feel like we could do better. Could you please give us a C rank mission, please?" And as Itachi's thinking, he says, "Well, Naruto is the strongest, so..." Itachi says, "Very well. I will give you a C rank. Luckily, we have one right here. And that's the reason why I called Team 7 and Team 8 here. See, this mission will be a joint operation, as it's going to require both teams to cooperate." As Kushina and Shisui nod, and Itachi says, "Y'all's mission is to escort and guard Tazuna, the bridge builder, back to the land of waves and wait for him to finish building the bridge. The most you guys will be guarding him from are bandits or anything like that. Basically, make sure that he gets done finishing the bridge without a hitch." And as Naruto began thinking to himself, he says, "Wait, it couldn't just be for bandits, could it?" As Naruto has a flashback, as he heard a rumor, as someone came from the land of waves just a few days ago, talking about how Gato, the crime boss, has been draining Wave of everything they got, using that demon swordsman and the demon brothers and that weird boy with the ice-style Kekkei Genkai. As Naruto remembers, but he decides to keep it to himself, as he figures that maybe after all, it was just a rumor, so there was no defining proof that it was actually true, but he kept it in the back of his head just in case. And this is when Itachi says, "Alright." Tazuna comes in and he looks at him. He says, "You give me these brats to guard me? They don't even look like they could guard a dog." And as a lot of them give him a death glare, he says, ugh, ugh. He says, man, the only ones who could possibly protect me are the redhead girl and the obviously, or no, he says the ones who could possibly protect me are the red hair woman and other guy with the black hair and the jet black eyes, referring to Shisui and Kushina. As Naruto didn't really let it bother him, as obviously Tazuna, he couldn't even really stand up to a real ninja, so he didn't really let it, as he's just a civilian not knowing what he's talking about. And as this is when Itachi says, alright, you all have 5 minutes to meet at the gate, and then that's when y'all will begin on your mission. Naruto, he heads home, he packs his stuff, mainly his 3-pronged kunai. He puts on his Anbu vest and his Anbu gauntlets. And he puts some of his 3-pronged seal on it, his 3-pronged kunai on his waist, and seals all the rest of his equipment inside of a scroll, so that way he doesn't, like, camping supplies. And then Naruto runs past the fridge, and he grabs a few drinks and seals them in. And as Naruto would get there at a very early time, seeing that Shisui and Kushina and seeing that Shisui and his mom and Tazuna were there. As Kushina was leaning up against a wall, waiting for everybody to arrive, as Shisui was doing the same thing. And as Tazuna was just drinking a nice bottle of sake. As this would actually, Naruto would say, hey mom, can I talk to, Kushina sensei, can I talk to you? As Kushina frowned, but then she smiled, she said, yeah, of course, what is it? And Naruto said, over there where nobody can hear us. As she nods, and Naruto says, well, he says, alright, well, I'm gonna say this off duty, even though I know we're on duty, let's just say we're off duty right now. He says, mom, can you teach me how to do sealing jutsu? As Kushina lights up like she's very happy, as she hugs Naruto. She says, of course I'd teach you. You're my son after all, Naruto. I was wondering when you were going to ask me to teach you. And Naruto said, well, sorry mom, I didn't know if you were wanting to teach me or not. And Kushina says, well, why wouldn't I want to teach my own son? After all, you are my firstborn son and the eldest son, so it's only natural that I teach you. And Naruto says, yeah. He said, hey mom, and if it's probably not too much to ask, do you think you can help me awaken my Uzumaki Kekkei Genkai? The chakra chains? And Kushina said, well, Naruto, well, you see, as she looks Naruto and as Kushina, she looks Naruto directly into his eyes, as she saw the determination in his eyes. And as she smiles, she says, yeah, of course I'll teach you, and I'll show you how to do it too. As soon as we get back, because obviously we can't train during the mission, as we have to keep our guard up. And Naruto nods, he says, alright, thanks mom. And Kushina remembers, oh wait, the Chunin exams are coming up. So wait, does that mean I still have to, I have to still train my team, even though they're still my children, but Naruto's also my child too, so, this might be a little complicated. As the rest of the team shows up, and Shisui says, alright, everybody listen up. Me and Naruto will be the vanguard, meaning we'll take the front. Sasuke and Mito, you'll take the rear, so meaning you'll be in the back. Kushina and Hitomi will be in the middle. Inori and Inori and Mema, you will be on the sides. Therefore, we'll have an effective formation. Me and Naruto will be scouting out for any enemies, traps, or potential genjutsus. As Sasuke and Mito, you'll be making sure that no one follows us. And as for Mema and Inori, you'll be making sure that anybody who gets past mine or Naruto's gaze, no one surprise attacks us. And as Kushina and Hitomi, you will make sure that the bridge builder is safe. As everybody nods, seeing that this was a very good and effective formation. And it covers everybody's blind spots. As they would all begin walking. Hold on, guys, I'll be right back. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so anyway, they would begin their journey to the Land of Waves. Shisui and Naruto having their 3 Tomoe Sharingan activated in both of their eyes to keep and then that's when Naruto and Shisui both detected the puddle. As well, 1, it hasn't rained there for days. 2, it was just a poor genjutsu that anybody with enough chakra sense could tell. As Naruto stopped, and Naruto says, "Come on out, we know that you're there." As the Demon Brothers would come out and they said, "Oh, perceptive one, are we? Look at this, brother. Not only do we get to kill the bridge builder, but we get to kill some leaf ninja. Yeah, they took a little bit of our friends back in the war." Wait, not in the war. They took in some friends on us during a mission. No matter, we'll peel the flesh right off your bones, and then we'll feed them to the dogs. And then Naruto says, "I don't have time for this." And Naruto activates his Mangekyo Sharingan in both of his eyes, and he says, "Koto Amasukami." He says, "First, you're going to tell us who sent you, and then you're going to give us a list of all the people who are working with you. Mainly the strongest people there." As the Demon Brother says, "Yeah, so we're working for Gato." And then the strongest ninjas he has is Zabuza Momochi, the demon of the hidden mist. And that other boy, Haku, who has an ice-style Kekkei Genkai. And Naruto says, "Who else?" "That's it. Those are the only... Besides us, they are the only strongest ones. The rest are just common bandits that work for Gato." Naruto says, "I see. Well, you can kill yourselves now." As the Demon Brothers would take out a kunai and stab themselves in the head, killing them instantly. As Naruto would deactivate his Mangekyo Sharingan in both of his eyes, and deactivate his 3 Tomoe Sharingan in both of his eyes, as Shisui would do the same. And as Tazuna would break down and give his whole sob story, hoping that they would still come with him, as they would all agree, knowing that Naruto would want to test his abilities in this mission. Therefore, they would continue walking. And as they enter the land of waves, hidden mist, the mist starts rolling around as everybody says, as Shisui, Naruto, and Kushina say, get down, as they all drop to the ground. Kushina bringing the Tazuna down with her, getting them onto the ground as a big, huge sword comes swinging by and enters into the tree as Zabuza lands on top of his executioner sword, and he says, so, not only do I get to kill the bridge builder, but I also get to kill some Uchihas. Matter of fact, now that I'm thinking, all of you are Uchihas. Well, my day just got a whole lot funner. As Zabuza would jump off of his executioner blade, grabbing his executioner blade, as Haku would appear right next to him, as Naruto says, I don't got time for this. As Naruto would activate Mangekyo Sharingan in both of his eyes. And Naruto's eye begins to bleed. Well, not bleed, as tears of blood comes out of Naruto's right eye, and Naruto says, Amaterasu, as both Haku and Zabuza burst into, as black flames envelop and engulf Zabuza and Haku as they both start screaming horribly. They try substituting, they try even jumping in the water, but the flames weren't going away. Matter of fact, the flames were even consuming the water as they were trying to stop the burning, but you could smell the flesh being burnt, as only the flesh that has been burnt could make that smell. As a lot of the girls on the team covered their nose, except even Kushina had it to cover her nose because the stench is so putrid that it was literally making them gag. As Shisui, until finally Zabuza and Haku, all that was left of them were ash. As Naruto deactivates his Mangekyo Sharingan in both of his eyes, and deactivates the 3 Tomoe Sharingan in both of his eyes as well, reverting back to their original jet black eyes. As Naruto would begin, as Naruto says, whew, man, thanks to those Hashirama cells that I implanted in my eyes, I wouldn't have relied on that. But luckily, thanks to the Hashirama cells that we implanted into our eyes, I no longer have to worry about going blind, or being blind for that matter. Thankfully, I came up with that idea. And my eyes no longer hurt when I use my Mangekyo's abilities. And my vision doesn't get blurry, so that's a good thing. It's a good thing I'm not going blind, or it's a good thing I'm not going to be blind either, so that's good. And Shisui says, well, thankfully we have your eyes, Naruto. And Naruto says, well, that's not all I can do. And Shisui understands what Naruto's saying, but he shrugs it off. And of course, they get to the bridge. Tazuna finishes building the bridge, and Gato arrives there with his bandits. Shisui, Kushina, and all the rest of the team fights it out, takes him out, and Shisui kills Gato, decapitating him, and Tazuna names the bridge the Great Naruto Bridge. And as they're walking home, Shisui and Kushina pull Naruto to the side, and they say, Naruto, you did a good job on this mission. However, we have to say it. Naruto says, what is it, Shisui-sensei? What is it, Kushina-sensei? And Kushina says, Naruto, I know me speaking as a sensei, but me also speaking as your mom. You have a tendency to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders, as you don't want anybody to carry any of the burden, as you want to just carry all of it on top of your shoulders. Naruto, you need to learn how to share some of that weight with other people, or otherwise that weight's going to wind up breaking you. And I don't want to see that happen to you. After all, you are my firstborn and eldest son. You are my pride and joy, as you are also your father, pride and joy. And nothing's going to change that, but you need to start letting people share the weight. And Naruto says, what do you mean? We all fought together during those bandits. And Kushina said, no, that's not the point. It's when you took on the Demon Brothers and took on Zabuza and that boy, Haku. Just think of it as this way. What if you weren't an Uchiha? What if you didn't have the Mangekyo Sharingan? If you couldn't do that. You'd have to rely on your team. And Naruto says, I know. But the point is, I am an Uchiha, and I do have the Mangekyo Sharingan. So, regardless if... But I understand what y'all are saying, and I thank you guys for that. Thank you for caring about me. And Mom, most of all, thank you for your words. I really need to hear that. And Kushina, she smiles at her firstborn eldest son, Naruto. And Kushina says, Naruto, you're a good boy. Don't let nothing change you. And Naruto says, right. As Naruto has a big smile on his face, and he hugs his mom as she hugs him back. And then she gives him a little kiss on the forehead as Naruto blushes, knowing that Kushina, she just did that in front of Hitomi. And Hitomi just kind of, as everybody kind of lets out a little chuckle. And Naruto says, what are you guys looking at? Don't make me activate I will Amaterasu you right here on the spot. Don't think I won't. Hold on, guys. But anyway, as they all begin to walk, as they make it back to the village, Kushina and Shisui report, and Kushina walks home with her 4 children. And I'm gonna call it an end right here, guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a like, subscribe, comment down below. Tell me what you guys thought about the video. And do not forget to turn that bell notification on, so that way you guys can stay posted on all of my upcoming videos. And do not forget to share this video with all your friends on your social media platforms. But without further ado, guys, it's been your boy, King Sinbad. Until we meet again on the next video. Peace out. See you guys later.